What are the factors of 4a squared minus 1? Is it letter A, 2a plus 1 times 2a minus 1? Or letter B, 2a plus 1 times 2a plus 1? Or letter C, 2a minus 1 times 2a minus 1? Or letter D, 2a plus 1 times 4a squared minus 2a plus 1? What is your answer?
Hi there, I'm Jason, and you're watching
Jason! 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 Jason, learn!
In order for you to answer this particular question correctly and directly, you must be familiar with the concept of factoring the difference of squares. Now, this is still another factoring technique which you could use when the given polynomial is in the form of the difference of squares. So how are you going to determine if a certain polynomial is in this form? So just like the given exercise or just like the given question of the day, so 4a squared minus 1. So as what you can see, the first term as well as the second term is a perfect square. So 4 is a perfect square number, and then a squared is a perfect square variable, and 1 is also a perfect square number. So if you are going to see a polynomial wherein two perfect square monomials are being subtracted and there are only two terms, so just like this, so 1 2, so there are only two terms, so you could apply this technique, so factoring the difference of squares. So how are you gonna do that? So this is just how you solve it. All I just need to do is just to get the square root of the first term plus the square root of the second term, and then its other factors would be the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term. So basically speaking, parihara silang mga terms, so just getting the square root of each of the terms. However, the operation of the binomials are different. So this is positive or plus, this addition, and this is negative or minus or subtraction. So maara ni silang duha ang maglahi. So this is basically the things that you must be familiar with when you're going to factor the difference of squares or polynomials and the form the difference of squares. So nga na ara, just get the square root of the first term plus the square root of the second term, and the other factor would be the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term. So if we're going to simplify this further, this becomes the square root of 4a squared is 2a, and then plus the square root of 1 is 1, and then times the square root of 4a squared, that is 2a, and then minus the square root of 1 is also 1. So therefore, this is our final answer. So that's just how easy it is to factor this kind of polynomial. So therefore, the answer for the given question of the day is letter A. So 4a squared minus 1, so its factors are 2a plus 1 and 2a minus 1. Alright? Now let's try more examples para mas masabtan pa siya. Okay. Let's try this. So a squared minus 4a. So as what you can see, this is still in the form of the difference of two squares. So this is a perfect square monomial as well as this one. So how are we going to solve it again? So we're just going to get the square root of the first term and then plus the square root of the second term. So its other factor would be the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term. So parihara dyan na silang mga terms. Ang maglahi lang is the operation. Ang isa is addition while the other one is subtraction. And then simplify them further. So the square root of a squared is a plus the square root of 49 is 7, and then times the square root of a squared, it's a again, and then minus the square root of 49, it's 7. So this is our final answer. So the factors of a squared minus 49 is quantity a plus 7 times the quantity of a minus 7, or a plus 7 times a minus 7. So that's just it. Now let's have more examples pa jud para mas masabtan. What about this? So let's try to factor a squared minus 25b squared. So again, all you just need to do is just to get the square root of the first term and then plus the square root of the second term. The other factor would be the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term. So you could also have this one. So you could have minus here and this plus, or plus here and minus here. So that is just the same. So parihara na silang answer depending on your preference. So let's simplify this further. So the square root of a squared, that's a. The square root of 25b squared, so plus 5b. And then times the square root of a squared, that's a again, so minus the square root of 25b squared, that's 5b. So that is our answer. Now what about this? So let's try to factor 4c squared minus 81d squared. So again, get the square root of the first term plus the square root of the second term, and then times the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term. And then simplify. So the square root of 4c squared is 2c, and then plus the square root of 81d squared, that's 9d, and then times the square root of 4c squared, so 2c minus the square root of 81d squared, which is 9d. So this is our answer. Let's try to get the factors of 36x squared minus 25y to the fourth power. So again, get the square root of the first term. So the square root of the first term plus the square root of the second term times the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term. And then simplify them. So the square root of 36x squared, that's 6x plus the square root of 25y to the fourth power, that's 5y squared. And then times the square root of the first term, so that's 6x minus the square root of the second term, so 25y to the fourth power, so its square root is 5y squared. So this is now our answer for this particular exercise. So sayo na dyan siya kayo, right? Now this time, let's try to factor this one completely. So let's try to factor this wherein the exponent is dila just squared but 4. So the same procedure lagi hapon. All you just need to do is to factor the first term. Get the square root of the first term minus or plus the square root of the second term times the square root of the first term minus the square root of the second term, and then simplify them further. So the square root of 16m to the fourth power n to the fourth power is 4m squared n squared, right? And then plus the square root of 9o to the fourth power is 3o squared, and then times the square root of the first term, so minus the square root of the second term. Oh, why didn't write that? Oh, all right, so this is the answer. Now, wahira di ay siya. So this is now our answer for this particular exercise. So sayo na jud siya, no? So this time, I want you to try this one. So try to factor 100w squared x squared minus 81y to the fourth power z to the fourth power. And you may comment your answer in the comment section below. That's all for now. Thank you, more power, and let's keep learning.